for standing by. Welcome to the Veeva Systems Fiscal 2022 third quarter results conference call. At this time, all participants are in a listen-only mode. After the speaker presentation, there will be a question-and-answer session. To ask a question during the session, you will need to press star one on your telephone. If you require any further assistance, please press star zero. I would now like to hand the conference over to Ato Garrett, Senior Director, Investor Relations. Please go ahead.
This is the operator. Please stand by for technical assistance. Speakers, please hold.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Veeva's fiscal 2022 third quarter earnings conference call for the quarter ended October 31st, 2021. As a reminder, we posted prepared remarks on Veeva's investor relations website just after 1 P.M. Pacific today. We hope you've had a chance to read them before the call. Today's call will be used primarily for Q&A. With me today for Q&A are Peter Gassner, our Chief Executive Officer, Paul Shawah, EVP Commercial Strategy, and Brent Bowman, our Chief Financial Officer. During the course of this call, we may make forward-looking statements regarding trends, our strategies, and the anticipated performance of the business. These forward-looking statements will be based on our current views and expectations and are subject to various risks and uncertainties. Our actual results may differ materially. Please refer to the risks listed in our earnings release and the risk factors included on the most recent filing on Form 10-Q. Forward-looking statements made during the call are being made as of today, December 1st, 2021, based on the facts available to us today. If this call is replayed or viewed after today, the information presented during the call may not contain current or accurate information. Veeva disclaims any obligation to update or revise any forward-looking statements. We may discuss our guidance on today's call, but we will not provide any further guidance or updates on our performance during the quarter unless we do so in a public forum. On the call, we may also discuss certain non-GAAP metrics that we believe aid in the understanding of our financial results. A reconciliation to comparable GAAP metrics can be found in today's earnings release and in the supplemental investor presentation, both of which are available on our website. With that, thank you for joining us, and I'll turn the call over to Peter.
Thank you, Ato, and welcome to the call, everyone. It was another great quarter for Veeva with strength across the business and results above our guidance. Total revenue was up 26% to $476 million. Subscription revenue was also up 26% to $381 million. Non-GAAP operating income was $199 million, or 42% of total revenue. As noted in my prepared remarks, we had a very good quarter in commercial with particular strength in core CRM, Crossix Analytics, and Veeva Link. In the R&D area, we saw continued strength across the board in Veeva Development Cloud. We'll now open the call up for your questions.
As a reminder, if you would like to ask a question at this time, you will need to press star, then the number 1 on your telephone. To withdraw a question, press the pound key. Your first question comes from the line of Stan Zlotsky with Morgan Stanley.
Hey, guys. Good afternoon, and thank you so much for taking my questions. Maybe just starting high level, in the quarter, what did you see as far as any shifts in buying patterns? And I know you called out on the prepared remarks as I think an incremental $2 million headwind to billings in the quarter. Is there anything more to call out one time that happened in the quarter?
Oh, hey, Stan, it's Brent. No, in the quarter, we're very pleased overall with the broad-based strength we saw in the business. The one anomaly that I called out was we expected about $14 million of one-time items to billings that came in at 16. But other than that, nothing else. I'm happy with the overall momentum and strength of the business.
Got it. And then as far as the way we should be thinking about guidance for Q4, any other shift to note other than, I think you mentioned the incremental $10 million of the essential shifts from renewals that we're going to be pushing out into Q1 versus Q4. Anything else that we need to be mindful of as far as that quarter? Any kind of underlying demand trends or anything else?
Yeah. So in addition to the item, the $2 million you called out, so again, we're very pleased with the broad-based strength. A couple items just to be mindful of is that the ACV booking linearity was a benefit more to the first half than the second half. If you remember, we had our strongest two booking quarters in Q4 21 and Q1 22, so that has an impact. In addition, the CRM attrition is starting to flow through as we expect, and that does have an impact on revenue as well. So those are the things to be mindful of. But all in all, we've never been happier with our competitive positioning and how we look at the opportunity ahead.
Got it. Thank you so much, guys.
Your next question comes from Dylan Becker with William Blair.
Hey, guys. Nice job in the quarter, and I appreciate you taking the questions here. I guess maybe starting with Paul on the commercial side. So nice to see some additional wins with early adopters on Data Cloud. But I wanted to maybe dig in into the value with some of the releases coming up here next year with prescriber and sales data to really kind of tighten that feedback loop for these pharmaceutical companies. And I guess maybe just kind of that seems like a key driver of value here, but would love to kind of understand how you guys are thinking about this opportunity for those three components and data sets to really come together in Data Cloud as we think about 2022 and beyond.
Yeah, thanks, Dylan, for the question. So you're right overall with Data Cloud. We're really excited about the potential that we have. Really significant market, big market where we have patient data, which is available today in the U.S. market. And as you referenced, we're going to have prescriber data in Q1 of next year and sales data in Q2 of next year. So we're excited to expand that portfolio. When we do that, what that allows us to do is to be, we could be that sole provider for a life sciences company for the vast majority of their data, and that's where we're approaching. Today we have patient data which is highly differentiated. We have a number of early customers who are proving out the value proposition of patient data, of Veeva's patient data in the market. They're finding more patients, they're finding more targets. The data is more robust in many cases than what exists in the marketplace. So our hypothesis has always been we can create a better data set, and we're proving that out in the market. So we're super excited about where we're going with Data Cloud.
Okay, great. That's helpful. And then maybe one for Peter as well. So we've seen a lot of kind of recent innovation across the quality swell, and I think you kind of highlighted it on the Analyst Day about a month ago around that kind of broader opportunity set. So I guess maybe the potential to kind of dig into that applicability here, expanding again outside of potentially life sciences verticals, maybe something again that shakes out more around that kind of 2025 time frame, but thinking of how you guys are viewing kind of the innovation cadence in quality and the long-term opportunity of that suite in itself.
Yeah, quality we're very excited about. It's turning out to be a very broad business for us. So we added, product surveillance. Actually, that was a year or so ago. That's specific to med tech. Now adding validation and the QC LIMS for automating the quality control laboratory. So it's pretty broad. And it has some products that are quite mature and doing well in the market. Quality Docs and even QMS now we've had for a long time, and then QC LIMS, which is also a big new product, and we're just building that one. So it has a combination of products that are mature and products that are just brand new. And that's targeted at life sciences, but quality is one of those products that goes outside a little bit, service providers to life sciences. It's contract manufacturers, et cetera, CROs. So lots of people need our quality suite. It can be a big business for us, that's for sure.
Great. Thank you guys for taking the question.
Your next question comes from Ken Wong with Guggenheim Securities.
Great. Thanks for taking my question. A couple of CRM questions for me. The first one, I think I saw in the script that you guys mentioned, maybe introducing a MedTech CRM. Is this a greenfield opportunity for you guys, or is this just mildly additive by providing existing customers with a new experience? What's the right way to think about that particular product?
Yeah, Ken, it's a new opportunity for us. Today we sell Veeva CRM for pharma into the pharma and biotech industry, and that's built on Salesforce.com, the Salesforce platform, and that's going well, and none of that changes. So you can think of the pharma side as, we're going to continue to execute as we have been. And what we announced differently was really for the MedTech space. So think of MedTech as, this could be anything from a company that sells heavy medical equipment all the way down to surgical gloves. So it's a broad industry. It's a bit of a different area for Veeva in CRM. We've been selling to MedTech for the past couple of years, primarily our Vault R&D applications, and we're doing really well. We have over 100 customers where we sell to R&D. That's the big opportunity in MedTech is really the R&D space. But what we're doing in CRM is we're creating an industry-specific application for MedTech. We're building that industry cloud for MedTech. So it's new and additive.
It's super helpful. And then I also couldn't help but notice that there was a mention of a top 20 enterprise customer. I guess my understanding was you guys had pretty much locked up everyone except for Roche, and I recall Matt used to say there was a bounty on that last enterprise domino. I guess, should we think that you converted that, or is this just some derivative of another enterprise customer that, from a regional perspective, what's the happenings there?
Yeah, this is one we're proud of. I won't comment on specific customers, but I will say that we do have all top 20, at least somewhere in the globe at this point, all the major markets. So we're really, heard in Peter's remarks, we've been executing really well in CRM. We've had really strong US market. We had some competitive wins and takeaways elsewhere in Latin America and expansions in Japan. So we're executing on all cylinders in core CRM and more broadly in commercial. Yeah, so really happy with that progress.
Got it. Fantastic, guys. Thanks for taking my questions.
Your next question's from Brian Peterson with Raymond James.
Hi, gentlemen. Thanks for taking the question. So I wanted to hit on the sales rep reductions at some of your customers. I'm just curious, versus where we were 90 days ago, how has that progressed? And how should we think about the impact of those reductions in fiscal year 23 versus fiscal year 22?
Yeah, I can give you an update. So just as a reminder, we talked about roughly a 10% reduction happening through the end of fiscal year 24, with most of it happening by the end of next year. With regards to this quarter in particular, it was relatively light. We saw very small rep reductions. We do anticipate we'll see more into Q4 and also most of it happening through the end of next year.
Okay, got it. That's helpful. And maybe just kind of a derivative on that. It's interesting as we're starting to hear about rep reductions, you would think about maybe a move to digital. And I'm curious, when you're engaging with your customers on the commercial side, Paul, are they talking about spending more technology and software with you? So, even though we're seeing this reduction, should we still think about spend levels overall going up? How do we kind of think about that dynamic?
Yeah, they're very much related, because the reason they're able to have the productivity gains is because they're becoming more digital. So what's happening across the industry is, what's happened largely over the last couple of years, that we've been driving this shift to help our customers become more digital, more productive, more efficient, and now they have those productivity gains, and they get to decide how they take advantage of those gains. Either they can reach deeper into the customer base, or they can take some as reductions. And it's not a science, and it takes a little while, which is why you see it playing out over time. But yes, there's certainly a correlation. As they consume more of our products, as they become more digital, there are the efficiency gains which they get the benefit of.
Thanks, Paul.
Sure.
Once again, if you would like to ask a question, please press star, then the number 1 on your telephone. Your next question comes from Sterling Auty with JP Morgan.
Hi, this is Drew on for Sterling. I was wondering if you could speak to the pipeline of new add-on products, particularly within CRM or anywhere else that you're seeing add-ons.
Very specific add-ons. I would say that the tip of the spear add-ons helping our customers get to digital. And you saw that spike with Engage. So we've moved much of the industry to some of the newer add-ons like Engage. But we're seeing strength more broadly across that because they're all taken together. All of those add-ons help our customers be more efficient. They help them become more digital. They help them generate data better and operate differently. So yeah, we're seeing strength not only in core CRM but also in the add-ons more broadly.
Questions from Stephanie Davis with SVB Leerink.
Hey guys, congrats on the quarter and thanks for taking my question. I just want to call out that the prepared remarks had a bunch of SMB wins. So I was hoping you could talk to traction in that end market. How should we think about the relative go-forward opportunity in SMB, just given those broader contracts and the scale of IPO activity that we've been seeing lately?
Yeah, the SMB space it's a really important market. I mean, this is where you have some of the most innovative, interesting companies, biotechs, often launching their first medicine, and this could be in something that's highly specialized, oncology, rare disease. So we are able to, in many cases, start very early in the development cycle with our Vault products, which is most often where we would start. From anything from clinical to regulatory and anything else across the spectrum. And then, as they get closer to launch, often promote them into our commercial product set. So yeah, we're having really good strength in that space. Now, going forward, I anticipate we'll continue to have that strength, and those customers have the unique advantage of having a clean slate. So going with development is really a whole lot easier for them compared to what somebody that may have some legacy systems tied to them. So yeah, it's a big value proposition with those small customers. Are making great progress there.
So that touches on my follow-up. Are there then some products within your suite that are much more likely to add on or attach to earlier than some of your established relationships? And how can we think about that?
So certainly earlier you would start with some of the products in Development Cloud, which is likely where they would start in quality, in clinical, advanced. And then as they become closer to commercial, they actually often start with their medical affairs teams because that's when seed and start positioning in the marketplace, and then they expand to the commercial product area. So it's really, we can help them along that entire spectrum.
Super helpful. Thank you.
Thanks for taking my questions. My first one is really around the analytics. Just curious to see what sort of momentum you're seeing in that space in terms of purchase decisions. Obviously, as digital becomes more important of an investment channel with.
Yeah, you're a lot of the momentum. Crossix is it's really the very best product in the market. We've been building and maturing that product for a very long time, and it's doing well in the market. We expect it to continue down that trajectory. We're also innovating in the Crossix space. So innovative things where we took some of the interesting data that comes out of CRM and we enhanced it in Crossix, which is what our customers are looking for. They're looking to us for that kind of innovation. So it's going well, and you're right. The big driver is as our customers are doing more digital, there's more of a need to measure and understand what's working and what's not working, and that's why they turn to Crossix. So yeah, we're excited about that. That'll continue to be a big contributor and grower for us over the next several years.
Great. And then maybe as a follow-up, I thought it was interesting in the prepared remarks around Data Cloud and sort of the discovery of new use cases or new types of data within your customers thus far. Would just be curious to hear some examples of some of those new use cases. Thanks.
Yeah, so we started with the patient data. That's what we have in the marketplace today, longitudinal patient data. And we're expanding to the other data sets that I mentioned earlier. And, our customers are able to, patient data is super valuable to a life sciences company, particularly for, some of these newer, more specialized precision medicines. What's happening to that patient across the journey? How are they getting diagnosed? What are some of the indicators that, that may mean they have a medicine that they'd be able to treat that patient for longer term? So it really helps. You can think about that patient data to help identify where patients may be. You can think about it as helping them to think about what treatments they're on and when they may transition them over to a medicine. You can also think about it as segmenting and targeting customers. So,
great, thanks for the color.
Sure.
Once again, if you would like to ask a question, please press star, then the number 1 on your telephone. Your next question comes from Brent Bracelin with Piper Sandler.
Hi all, this is Hannah Rudolph on for Brent today. Thanks for taking my question. First one is kind of a follow-up on the last question. I think in the past you've talked about customers maybe being able to find around 10% more targets using your patient data than using a legacy competitor data. I guess where do you see that number going once you have all 3 data sets rolled out?
Yeah, that's a good question. It will depend on certainly the therapeutic area and where we're competing, who we're competing with, what you're comparing it to. We're using technology. We're able to find data that others are not able to find, and we're able to match those data sets together and create something really robust. So that's why we've been able to find additional patients, additional healthcare professionals and targets because of that. Do I see it? It may range, right? It's going to range. In some cases, it may be higher. It may be not as much. Customers are getting the value that we thought they would get out of Data Cloud, and it's only going to go in the right direction as we continue to invest more heavily in data.
Great. And then how are you thinking about headcount?
Yeah, I'll take that. So, we're pleased with our journey towards 10,000 employees in 2025, and we're focused on, building the organization to drive customer success and innovation. So, we're leaning in.
Your next question comes from Bank of America.
Oh, great. Thanks, guys, for taking the question here. Congratulations on any deals this quarter in that clinical CTMS, CDMS. How did that fare during the quarter? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, clinical continues to go really well for us. CDMS, as you know, we continue to add customers. We've had some expansions. They're doing more trials. We're doing more oncology trials also as we're going along. Those are some more complex. You need to be a little bit more adaptive, which is why they're looking to something that's more flexible like CDMS. So we continue to make progress every quarter, adding more trials, making progress in the enterprise also. And then with some of the more, the more established products like eTMF continues to perform well, and our customers are also expanding and looking at areas like CTMS. So clinical is really proud of where that's going. And then, of course, customers believe in our vision for digital trials, and that clinical foundation is a really important part of that.
Great to hear. And then also, if I may, just an update on the regulatory business. That's the vault that has been you launched earliest and has seen a lot of traction over the years. How well penetrated is that install base? In other words, what's the runway to cross-sell and upsell that into the base from here?
Yeah, you're right. It was one of the earlier ones, and there's still a lot of runway left in regulatory. And also think about regulatory. It is a suite of products like the other areas. So we have submissions and the ability to archive and publish submissions and registrations. So it's a number of products, and you're really seeing two dynamics. One dynamic is where customers who may have started with submissions and registrations and they're expanding to publishing. So we're seeing expansion from existing customers to buy additional apps. And then you're also seeing, you saw in Peter's scripted comments that we had our first enterprise kind of go all in with the regulatory suite. So those two dynamics are playing out, and there's certainly a lot of runway left there.
Great to hear. Thanks, Paul.
And Brad, I would say a little more color in the second half of this year, end of Q2 and the Q3 here, and frankly the start of Q4, we've seen a lot of good momentum in the clinical data management. I think that's been, as I reflect, a real bright spot. Now, particularly with large enterprises, that doesn't turn into orders or closed deals right away, because that's a risk-averse area, has a long runway, but that's a real bright spot, our progress in CDMS in this so far this calendar year.
Excellent. Thanks, Peter.
There are no further questions at this time. I'll now hand it over to the management for the closing remarks.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining today's call. I'd like to thank our customers for their continued partnership and the Veeva team for their commitment to customer success. Thank you.
This concludes today's conference call. You may now disconnect.